Yeah, we like it going here. Yeah. Did you get going? No.
Okay, I guess we are also ready.
Yeah.
The licensing board meeting for Tuesday, August 16th is now in session. Before we start, let me read the open meeting law. Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 20E. Pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made whether perceived or unperceived by those present and are deemed acknowledged and permissible. So with that, we will open up the hearing. And before we start, agenda item number 11 will not be heard. This is one of the updates of the 5 liquor licenses that we have, and this one is regarding the status of the CV all alcohol restaurant license issued to Quincy Main Inc. DBA Hong Kong Eatery, 1510 Hancock Street. Johnny Chu, the manager. This is a transfer that was denied by the local licensing authority. It was a transfer down to the intersection of Beale Street and Beach Street. It was denied by the local authorities here. They appealed that decision to the ABCC. The ABCC upheld the local decision, and I just spoke with the attorney for the business, Attorney Jack Milgram, and they have appealed this to Superior Court. So that will not be heard. We do know the status of that, so everyone is aware this is on appeal to Superior Court. And we will hold that license for Hong Kong Eatery until that appeal is heard, and at which point, if it is granted, they get it. If not, the city of Quincy will take it back and will reissue it upon request by another entity. So with that, I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to go right down the line because it's easier for me. Mr. Shea used to bounce around a lot. Here's our little differences. Agenda item number 1, hearing regarding the request of Strand Promotional Solutions, 2 Heritage Drive for 1-day alcohol permit for a private client open house September 15th, 2016. Miss Ashley Robinson. Hello, Ashley. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good. So you are down at 2 Heritage Drive,
Yes.
and this is a 1-day all alcohol license for a private function. Want to just tell us a little bit about it real quick?
Well, we're doing an open house, so it's really a client-focused event. We're inviting our clients. We'll have a vendor showcase, and then inviting our clients in to meet with our vendors, and it will be, food and alcohol, but more than anything, just a real business networking and marketing effort.
And it's a private party.
Right.
Yes, great.
Yeah.
What company's applying for?
Strong Promotional Solutions.
What building are you going to be in, on State Street or?
No,
No,
so we're on the 6th floor.
We're on the 6th floor, Heritage District.
Yeah. Right, within that complex.
Okay. Any other comments by anybody in the audience? Seeing none, look to the board. Motion?
The hours.
The hours of-
5:30.
5:30 to 9:30.
We do that.
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to grant the request of Strand Promotional Solutions, 2 Heritage Drive for a 1-day alcohol permit for a private client open house, September 15th, 2016, represented by Ms. Ashley Robinson.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to grant the request of Strand Promotional Solutions, 2 Heritage Drive, for a 1-day all alcohol permit for a private client open house on September 15th, 2016, from 5:30 to 9:30 p.m., represented by Ms. Ashley Robinson. All in favor?
Aye.
You're all set.
Great.
Thank you very
so
much.
much.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 2. Hearing regarding the request of Louis Cafe, 1269 C Street, for an extension of premise Saturday, September 10th, 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. John Galligan. John, why don't you come on over and tell us what's going on that wonderful day on September 10th, and how can we help you?
Good afternoon. So, on September 10th is also the Chowder Fest. During that event, there's just a good amount of overflow in the area. We pick up a lot of that before and after. Through the last few years of the business growing and Chowder Fest growing, I've seen it somewhat affect just our kind of normal business when it comes to dinner time hours. So we're kind of looking to set up something in our sidewalk and in our side driveway. Tents, stanchions to block, just to be able to kind of take the overflow from Chowder Fest, during and after. You kind of have more of a place for them to go in, enjoy the rest of the afternoon, but then also allow our normal customers to come in, enjoy the restaurant without it just kind of all happening at once.
So when you get out to Chowder Fest, the part that you're looking to expand onto is, do you have a little diagram right
I do,
there?
yeah. So,
All right, so what am I looking at now?
So what you'd be looking at is the orange square would be the patio that we just installed.
Okay.
On the corner where the orange circle is, that's where we would have a marker designating that the sidewalk is closed with an arrow pointing to the other side of the street that we've talked to engineering about already. And then basically the white is what I'm looking to take up. There would be stanchions along the sidewalk, the tent on the outside, which would be on the street side, which would have roll down tops just to kind of block anyone from entering or exiting without going through our building. So basically they have to enter our building at our main entrance and use our patio door and patio exit to be able to get into this area.
Okay, good.
So it would be pretty well blocked off.
Is it just a dinner or whatever, or is it going to be music or dance? Something like that?
I was gonna have someone in the afternoon. They usually wrap up around 5, kind of like 5 to 7. Have a solo guy that we usually use out there to do some music, and then we would also have a draft system out there. And I'd like to try to do it from like noontime to 11. I don't really, that's what I'm kind of asking for. I don't really know if I'm gonna use up all of those hours, but that's kind of the plan. With the Boston Party Rental will be coming in, setting up stanchions, the tents, the roll downs, tables, chairs, and all that for me. So that'll all be brought in by someone. And then we're basically obviously supplying our beer and wine for out there, as we normally would.
Before I go to the board, anybody in the audience have any comments, questions, concerns? Like, Lieutenant Zorowski, do you have any issues?
I don't think it's good down there.
Good down there? Board members? Chief?
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. John, I just wanted to thank you for your help on the 3rd of July. You helped everything go off safely, and I appreciate your assistance. And I know you do a good job down at Louis, so
Thank you.
thank you, and I would approve.
Anything else, board members? Any other questions, comments? You'll serve food out there and alcohol?
Yeah, we're gonna come up with like a special menu just for outdoors for that day, more snack appetizer type stuff, burgers.
Okay.
You gonna be on the sidewalk?
So we'll be taking up the sidewalk, then into our driveway. The sidewalk is really just gonna be more stanchions, just to give them access from our patio without having to have like a separate entrance.
We just need to sign the whole harmless agreement.
Okay, we have that.
That would make it out.
Okay.
Just see
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, sure.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to grant the request of Louis Cafe, 1269 C Street, for an extension of premise Saturday, September 10th, 10 a.m. to 11 p.m., represented by John Gallagher.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to grant the request of Louis, 1269 C Street, for an extension of premise Saturday, September 10th, from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. for the Chowder Fest Festival, represented by John Gallagher. All in favor?
Aye.
John, you're all set. Just make sure you come by and see Cindy tomorrow and get the agreement.
Thank you, guys. Have a good evening.
Thank you very much. Hope it's successful.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 3, hearing regarding the request of Big Y Supermarket for the transfer of the common vicular retail package store wine and malt and Sunday licenses presently held by Hannaford's Supermarket, 475 Hancock Street. And it's Catherine Chapman, the manager.
Yes.
Hi, Catherine, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Very good. Attorney Michael Gold.
That's me.
How are you? So this is a lot of paperwork for us.
Yes, it is. I apologize.
It's
It's a no.
Us too.
basically Big Y Supermarket is taking over Hannaford, right?
Well, Big Y Foods, Big Y Supermarkets is picking up 8 of the Hannaford stores that are being divested as part of the Ahold and Del Hayes merger. So we are picking up the store down the road on Hancock Street. We're hoping to transfer the liquor license into the name of Table and Vine Inc., which is a wholly owned sub of Big Y, both our liquor licenses, and obviously get the common deck and other licenses that we need to operate the store.
And are we gonna change the name at all, or is it gonna stay?
Big Y.
It's gonna become
Big
Big
Y.
Y?
Do any of the other big Ys have alcohol?
Yes. If you want, I can give you a little background on Big Y. I don't know. if you
Sure.
want to
I'd love to
indulge
hear
you.
about
I
Big Y.
know, maybe a little public service announcement. We're coming into town here. Big Y is a Massachusetts company based in Springfield, been around for 80 years. It's still family owned and operated by the DeMoore family. Second and third generations of the DeMoores are running the company, moving into leadership. We have over 10,000 employees, 62 supermarkets, soon to be 70 after we pick up the Hannaford stores. We have 35 in-store pharmacies. We have a fine specialty food market called Fresh Acres, a huge fine wine and liquor store out in West Springfield called Table and Vine. We have a couple distribution centers. We have a support center. We have some gas stations and convenience stores, not out here, unfortunately. 2003, we opened our first store east of Worcester, and that was in Walpole. 2012, we opened the store in Franklin. It's been tough to expand because it's just tough to expand in Eastern Mass. So this acquisition was fantastic for us, gave us an opportunity to grow into Eastern Mass. You'll see that we're a great neighbor. We give back to the community where we operate. We promote local suppliers. Local vendors anytime that we can. That's big. And just want to introduce Kevin Berry, who's our director of produce and floral. Quincy native, born and raised, still lives here. He loves Big Y so much that for 18 years he's been commuting to Springfield. And he's thrilled because he has a 3-minute commute home tonight. So we pride ourselves on owning clean and safe stores. We offer quality, service, value. We have a nationally recognized food safety team. I think my food safety director sent you a letter. We also have a physical safety team. They go out and they do training, they do assessments, audits, and best claims one that never occurs. And we're all about being proactive and preventive. We give a lot of training to our employees. We want them to constantly grow. 2015, we got this Employer of Choice Award from the Employers Association of the Northeast. We like to think that we're a great employer. The application's in the name of Table and Vine. As I said, it's a wholly owned sub. They've been operating for over 50 years. We have a standalone package store in West Springfield that's called Table and Vine. Sells fine wine, spirits, beers, specialty foods. It's 30,000 square feet. It has 4,000 varieties of wine, 1,700 different flavors of beer, gourmet foods and cheeses. It's a great shopping experience if that's what you're into, like a toy store for adults. We also operate 5 liquor stores within our supermarkets. We have all alcohol licenses in Wilbraham, Northampton, and Holden, and beer and wine licenses in Franklin and Greenfield. We sell beer in all of our Connecticut locations. We're excited about being able to sell beer and wine here. We think it'll be great. Many of our employees, because we've been doing this for so long, are experts in food and wine and pairings. And we're going to bring some of the expertise and train many of the we tried to hire as many Hannaford employees as possible to continue working in the Big Y location, and hopefully we'll train them in the expertise that we have. We take the obligation to comply with all the laws, including alcohol laws, very seriously. All of our employees take computer-based training on preventing alcohol sales to minors, and similar to the other locations that we have, our handful of our managers, including Katie, will become TIP certified. I think that's important if they're not certified already. And our point-of-sale registers require you to put in a birth date before they allow the alcohol sale to go through. And Katie is staying on as our manager of records, so hopefully that will be easy for you. We're going to operate in effectively all the same merchandise areas, trying not to change the Hannaford too much. And we'd like to think maybe our selection of beer and wine will improve, but other than that, it's hopefully going to be business as usual.
When do you anticipate this switching over?
Well, we're closing on the acquisition of this store on September 13th, and we're going to be open on September 16th.
So 3 days to change over.
3 days to clean, change, pull all the front all the signs on the wall. Yeah. And a little optimistic, but we'll get it done.
We have the legal ad already here, we have the check. We have all of the other stuff.
It might be in there.
Copies if you need more papers.
I got it right here, here we go. All the other emergency contact forms are all the same? They're all in there? Okay. Before we ask any of the questions, would anybody, any members of the audience have any comments, questions? Seeing none, board members? We're happy to have Big Y come to Quincy and hope you're very, very successful. It's a great location.
We look forward to it.
And with that, I'll look for a motion from the board.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to grant the request of Big Y Supermarket for the transfer of the common victualler license presently held by Hannaford Supermarket, 475 Hancock Street. Catherine Chapman, manager, attorney represented by attorney Michael Gold.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to grant the request of the Big Y Supermarket to transfer the common victualler license presently held by Hannaford Supermarket, 475 Hancock Street. It's represented by Catherine Chapman, who will remain the manager, and attorney Michael Gold. All in favor? Aye. You're all set. We're going to take another vote for the wine and malt and the Sunday licenses together, okay?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a request of Big Y Supermarket for the transfer of the retail package store and wine and malt and Sunday licenses presently held by Hannaford Supermarket, 475 Hancock Street. Catherine Chapman, manager, represented by attorney Michael Gold.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to grant the request of Big Y Supermarkets for the transfer of the retail package store wine and malt and Sunday licenses presently held by Hannaford Supermarket, 475 Hancock Street. Catherine Chapman, the manager, and attorney Michael Gold. All in favor? Aye. You're all set. Good luck, all right?
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming to Quincy.
Do I need any other paper?
I'll let you know.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
So we're going to go to agenda item number 4. Karen got in a request of CNS Restaurant Inc., DBA Windsor Dim Sum House, Michael Milton, line manager, 706, 708 Hancock Street. The transfer of the CV all alcohol restaurant license presently issued to H&L Restaurant Inc., Crystal J. Attorney Ed Fleming. Ed, how are you?
I'm doing well, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
So before you start, I just have one question for you, okay? I know you're gonna, currently it's open right now, right?
It is.
It is, and it's open, and who's running it right now?
Under Crystal J.
Under Crystal J,
Yes.
okay. And this is a new license, this is gonna be transferred to a new owner,
That's correct.
and the new owner is,
CNS Restaurant Inc. And Michael Lee will stay on as the manager, as he's a manager presently under the Crystal J license, which is H&L, and he will stay on as the manager for the new entity as well.
okay,
Which will operate under a different name, which I understand some signage was already erected, which will be called the Windsor Dim Sum House. So the concept of the restaurant changed, hence why the restaurant closed down for some time, and the new operator will be operating and has requested the transfer of the all alcohol restaurant license.
we have before us here, we have the petition from the ownership for the transfer of the stock, the new offices. other paperwork. Mr. Michael Nin has already been queried, so he's all set with that with us.
And he's received all the required licenses, including certified.
Exactly. Here's the vote of the certificate of the vote of the board. And this was recently rebuilt, the courtroom is all here. This was all redone within the last year and a half or so, completely done in
It was, and the new operator will be acquiring all the assets of the business as well as the operator. So they'll be taking over all the assets that were, as part of the acquisition.
Before I turn to the board, any members of the audience have any comments, questions? Just come up and state your name.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm Kim Beers, representing Johnson's Filling Station, which is adjacent to the Crystal Cave. Basically, I went there last week. I didn't realize it was changing over. I came back to my owner and saw that sign being changed, so I was like, oh. So I went over to introduce myself to the owner, but I didn't get to, was it you I spoke to?
Yeah, I'm in
The manager?
Yeah.
So I spoke to the manager.
The day manager, yes.
Yeah, just because they had some trucks and they were delivering stuff and had stuff, they were unloading at the time, a refrigerator and stuff like that on our property. And with Crystal Jade, we had come up, when they first opened, we had absolutely no issues with them. They were great. Never had one issue. That side door that opens up into the station though, I went over just to let them know you can't park there because the delivery trucks come at different times, days, I never know when they're gonna come. So it's just basically that's why I wanted to meet with you, just to continue that.
We had this discussion at the last meeting when we transferred the license, and
Yep,
I'm glad that they did everything they said.
they did.
He was the
Excellent.
manager at the time.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about. It's your property, they're not allowed to be on it.
Yeah, I will let them know
Okay.
because I might be in the kitchen because it's maybe just a point at that.
Yeah, it's like, we never had one
But
issue with
any
them.
delivery, I'll keep a note, just tell my head not to go through the sign at all.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean,
Yes.
obviously for an
That's an
emergency.
that's an emergency
It is a
exit.
second
Yep,
emergency. If
exactly.
Don't have an
That's
issue
good.
with that.
Yeah.
Like, we don't block it either.
Right, it's not a
To make
daily,
sure.
it's not a daily
Yeah.
use.
Yeah.
Got it, that's good.
I'll warn them, I'll note that also remind them.
Yeah, the day guy that I spoke to was fine, except he said only your big deliveries would be coming to you.
No, they should.
No.
Yeah, I will let them all know that it's another door that they should use on that for the from now on.
Okay,
That's it.
that was it.
That's good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions from any of the audience? Seeing none, I'll close it. I'm going to turn it over to the board. Board members, any comments, questions?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a request to grant, make a motion to grant the request of CNS Restaurant, Inc., doing business as Windsor Dim Sum House, Michael Lai, manager, 706, 708 Hancock Street, for the transfer of the CD all alcohol restaurant license presently issued to H&L Restaurant, Inc., Crystal Jade, represented by attorney Edward Fleming.
Second. Motion made and seconded to grant the request of CNS Restaurant Inc., DBA Windsor Dim Sum House, Michael Nick Lee, manager, 706, 708 Hancock Street, for the transfer of the CV all alcohol restaurant license presently issued to H&L Restaurant Inc., Crystal Jade, represented by attorney Ed Fleming. All in favor? Aye. You're all set.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Good luck, okay? Yes. Agenda item number 5, hearing regarding the request of Shore Transit Inc., DBA Yellow Cab, 91 Craft Highway, for happy license, Mr. Abdullah Nanana. Ed, welcome back.
Thank you.
It's nice to have you here. Abby, how are you today?
I'm trying to get them all done at the same time.
See how we put you right back to back? Mr. Shea would have it done.
Very good like that. Yeah,
We have you waiting for number 14 on the head. So why don't you tell us what, not for better lack of, where Abby the Cabby is gonna do for us?
Well, I'm pleased to represent Abby in this transfer. This is a request for the hacking licenses from Yellow Cab. Abby has negotiated an agreement, Denise from Yellow Cab is here today as well, as part of the acquisition of Yellow Cab's business assets. The hacking license will be acquired by Abby, as well as the other business assets that are located at 91 McGrath Highway. An agreement was recently reached with the parties. Abby will also be taking over South Shore shuttle services, which is operated also by the family as part of this acquisition. So what we're seeking, and I understand from speaking with Cindy that this is an issuance of new hacking licenses. I have a letter from Mark Clerk, who is a representative, an attorney that represented Yellow Cab in the transfer, that indicates and provides authority to this body to act on this request as part of the purchase and sale agreement.
So they're purchasing the licenses and whatever vehicles or whatever's there.
Exactly.
Where are you gonna move it to?
I'm actually talking to the job process differently. I'm also talking to Dan Clark inside the shipyard, so I'm working on different things, and I have 30 days where Yellow Cab is right now, but I'll definitely be moving to a bigger place.
So I know you're gonna get ready to go to property too.
So, yeah, for 30 days, Chief, Abby will operate from the facility at 91 McGrath Highway. As part of the purchase and sale, he needs to move the cars after that 30-day period because it is being sold to another party. And, the hope is that we can negotiate a lease agreement with either, the Ajax on East Howard Street or some other reasonable location, industrial type location. So there'll be some work because Abby has to do.
We'd really like that Agile location, that would be a nice spot for it.
Well, it's not being utilized right
It's
now.
not being utilized, it's right around the corner from where he is.
Exactly, right
there.
across the street.
We've had issues in that location in the past, so this would be a nice cleanup for that area.
I'll let Mr. Hashon know that the chair is very supportive of that lease.
How many licenses, the acting licenses?
48.
48,
Yeah.
it's 48 licenses.
Any members of the audience have any questions or comments?
I got a question.
Sure. Just come up and state your name and your address.
John Orfeld, 62 Grenwall Road. When was the last time that the city of Quincy issued a new license to a taxi company other than Shore Taxi or Yellow Cab? When was the last? I've asked that question before, like when was the last time?
We did it last year, 2 years ago.
But I mean, were they new ones for those current companies? When's the last time you gave one to someone new?
We have a quota.
2 years ago.
So how many do we currently have in the city? So will this mean that one company now will have like almost a majority of them?
Yep.
So almost a monopoly?
Yeah.
So will will you issue maybe more to other companies if they come up and ask?
There's a quota.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm confused on. So it's like, how could, if someone wanted to come in and compete, I'm worried about just one company having a
Someone
monopoly.
could have outbid him for the license.
Okay,
No
okay,
purchase in the license.
okay. So, but I mean, it's like, do they have to pay for these licenses now that you're
Yeah.
issuing them?
Yeah.
And then each year is there a cost that they pay?
Yeah.
So, and one other stupid question. Do we have, the police chief might know, do we actually have any taxi stands anywhere in the city?
It's City Hall, behind City Hall at the T station, they park there and they have a stand there.
Because wouldn't you, as a taxi owner, like a bunch of nice taxi stands in the city? It would make sense if we have a city to have places where the taxis can go. So,
All of the taxis are regulated, they're inspected twice a year and they all pass.
I think it would be cool to have like 500 taxis in Quincy. That'd be a good way to compete with Uber and a good way for you guys to really know who's going to be in the city. You know, because right now there must be hundreds of Uber people driving in the city right now. I personally myself have driven Uber before and have picked up many people, you know, in the city and stuff. And it's a matter of anyone can drive for Uber. You know, I know you had someone up here before or someone, and they do really have absolutely like no standard. Just to give you an example. example, like Lyft said I couldn't drive for them. So I mean, the standards that each company has, but like Uber really has no standards. So by you guys actually issuing more licenses, because, you know, that was always a dream of mine, and I'm sure lots of people, to maybe become a taxi person, but it seems like it's been a monopoly my entire life, and this just makes it worse. Not that there's anything wrong with that company there, but that's my 2 cents. I just wanted to say something.
We do vet the licenses, taxi drivers, they're very compliant, they're excellent to work with. We've never had any issues with any of the Quincy cabs, to my knowledge. The cabs are kept up, they're repaired, they're in good order. We do inspect them twice a year, so we hold them to a very high standard, and they meet that standard.
Excellent.
Any other members of the audience with any comments or questions? I do have a letter here from Ward Councilor Brian Palmucci. Dear Chairman Shealy, while I take no position on the hacking license request, I did want to take this opportunity to ask the licensing board to reinforce to Yellow Cab that their drivers need to obey our city's traffic laws and be mindful of racing through residential side streets. Such behavior by Yellow Cab drivers has been raised to me by neighbors in various parts of Ward 4 and witnessed by myself on several occasions. My concern at this point is that Yellow Cab does not appear to be able to comply with traffic ordinances with the current number of drivers on the road. Adding an additional hacking license to their company may put an even further strain on their already insufficient management capabilities. I've never received a complaint from a resident about any other taxi service, only Yellow Cab. That speaks volumes to the manner in which they currently run their business compared to others in the same industry that do so without incident. Several months ago, I left several messages over the course of a week for the management of Yellow Cab asking for a return call to report a particular driver that residents had reported to me was speeding repeatedly through their residential area. Unfortunately, despite my attempts to reach management at Yellow Cab, no one provided the courtesy of a return phone call to discuss the ongoing issue with the drivers. I leave it to the licensing board with judgment about whether an additional license is appropriate for Yellow Cab as it is currently operated. I respectfully request the licensing board during this hearing to reinforce to Yellow Cab that in order for our city to thrive for both residents and businesses, we need to work together to address issues that come up from time to time. I'm hopeful that Yellow Cab will work to reduce the negative driving behavior on our residential side streets from their drivers, regardless of whether they get a new license or not. And that's Brian Palmucci. I think he's a little confused. I think he thinks that Yellow Cab is buying. So I guess you're in really good standing with him. I'm assuming he's going to be happy that, right? So we can make sure that he finds that out, all right? And you heard everything, so make sure you have a little talk with your drivers if you retain any of them.
Like how it always is.
And we'll reach out to the council as well to let them know.
All of the other paperwork is in order. Yeah, are you keeping all the same drivers, or are you gonna do a
Yes,
weeding
I am.
out, or doing a
No,
little?
I am.
You're gonna,
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Make sure you have a
I've been
meeting with
talking
them,
to the
sit
drivers,
down,
definitely.
let them
and,
know.
You know, we're gonna train them, you know, we have training, so
Okay.
I make sure it fits.
Any other comments from the board? Looking for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to grant the request of Shore Transit Inc., doing business as Yellow Cab, 91 McGrath Highway, for a hacking license, represented by Attorney Fleming, Mr. Abdelatif Nana.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to grant the request of Shore Transit Inc., DBA Yellow Cab, 91 McGrath Highway, for a hacking license, represented by Mr. Abdallah Nana, HAA, Cabby the Cabby, and represented by Ed Fleming. All in favor? Aye.
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to say congratulations to Yellow Cab, and wish the owner of Yellow Cab to serve the city well for a number of years. Hopefully she's going to retire and enjoy the profits, but I think that's the plan. Yeah, they've done well by the city. I understand what the fund will do.
I understand
what you said, but
Council Palmucci said, but
it happens.
Yellow Cab's always been very responsive anytime we've had any issues, especially down in that area with some overgrowth on the sidewalk. It's not even their responsibility. They came up to cut it down for us when we asked them to. So, I mean, I agree with you. They've been an asset to the city. And Abby, you've been an asset too. And we're looking for continued success with you.
Definitely, yeah.
There you go.
That's
Well
all.
said.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Marty, you ready? All right, agenda item number 6, the continued hearing regarding the request of the neighborhood club, Quincy, 27 Glendale Road, for an alteration of premise. Marty McGovern, manager. This is Marty McGovern and Richie Mead from the neighborhood club, a long-standing organization within the city of Quincy.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, before we get going, I have a conflict with this agenda item, so I will be recusing myself.
Okay. The chief will not be voting on this agenda item here. We've had lots of correspondence, so Mr. McGovern, why don't you tell us what's going on, Mr. Mead?
Okay, as the chair has mentioned, I'm Richard Mead, I'm the president of the neighborhood club. And Marty McGovern is with me to answer any of the questions. Real briefly, the club is in an effort to attract new members, and we've developed a plan. And we feel that the steps we're taking in this, the implementation of this plan will go a long way to achieving that goal. So the first part of that plan is to completely renovate the members' lounge and the members' dining. And with that, we will install or construct a new grill room with bar and lounge, and there'll also still be the area for formal dining. And this is the portion for the dining room. Again, understanding our membership, okay, but we're still going to retain that formal dining atmosphere. But we feel that, you know, the grill room will attract some new members. And the third component is the construction of an outdoor patio, which will be accessed from the members section. It will provide the members an opportunity for outdoor dining, similar to what the other establishments have in the city. Just by way of location, this is on the westerly side of the building. It's on the parking lot side. And if you can envision the members' entrance to the club, it would go starting the other side of it and going northerly, going back towards, if you're familiar with the entrance, the back door entrance to the kitchen. And again, the access would be solely from the members section. And again, it's a step we feel that's needed in order to implement and to attract new members.
Would it be used only by the members?
Yes.
So would we open for the functions?
No, and if there's a function in the ballroom or something like that, you wouldn't be able to access it.
Can we see these pictures?
Sure. That's a picture of the dining room, the new grill room. And this is the new formal dining room area of the club, which we presently have. And then this is the outdoor patio that we're proposing. That's my presentation. I don't know if Mike has any additional.
You need to know. You good? Before I let the board make any comments, anybody in the audience have any comments, questions, concerns they want to come up? Just come up and state your name and come step aside. Mike, state your name and address and let us know what you think.
Hi, I'm Michael Dalton. I'm at 54 Sherwood Road, so I'm back right at the Neighborhood Club. Neighborhood Club's a great place. They run a very nice business. We had a neighborhood meeting last week regarding this. And there's a couple things that come up with the neighbors wanted to address. They said they wanted to just keep the deck open till 11 o'clock at night. We think 10 o'clock at a residential neighborhood is probably good enough. And they told us at the meeting that probably no one will be out there after 10 anyways. They said there'd be no functions on the deck, so it's just tables and chairs and everything for members to eat or have a drink or something like that. We want to make sure it stays that way. And maybe some additional shade trees, which they agreed to. But just this time of year with all the trees, everything is fine. We can't say anything, but maybe in the fall, some other trees, maybe evergreens or something like But, you know, if I call Marty, if there's ever any issues, always very responsive, calls you right back, takes care of any issues. They put a nice fence up there that gave us some more shade, so I had no issues with it.
So the opening of the fence goes right back to your yard. I
Walk
walked down,
yeah,
I walked down
right
right this morning.
Right, I'm the one with the white fence on
Yep.
it, and Barron's on the other
Right.
side, so.
When I was down there, and I know the area that you're talking about, and I did talk with Mr. Barron earlier today. The burning bushes that you have on that medium strip where the parking is, if you let those burning bushes just continue to grow, it's gonna become another sound barrier. Instead, right now, they're like probably 3.5 feet, 4 feet high. They can get up as high as 8, 10 feet. So, I mean, you have the trees there in the middle, that's something that's already there. Just let them grow, and within probably 1.5 or 2 years, those are gonna be up another 3 or 4 feet easy.
Yeah, they've been there for 20 years, as
Yeah.
they are. But maybe some evergreen in between those other trees, just so we have something in the, Monty was happy to figure out something like that, we had no issues.
Another comment I had was, if you hold up the map or the picture of the patio itself, is there any way that on the left side here, that we could bring this type of fencing down to about here and then have, just so it kind of blocks it in a little bit more, and that way any noise is gonna be going out that way, not back towards the Sturtevant Row area, you know what I'm saying? Bring this fence here,
Follow fence?
Up high?
all the way around to here.
Yeah, I have a meeting with them tomorrow night, I'll bring it up.
And that'll reduce some noise going over that way also.
That was one of the suggestions we had on either.
Yeah, I'm gonna read the letter. And,
Plus our clientele is not exactly, you
well,
know,
I agree when they
it's
say
very mellow.
it's an 11 o'clock license, but for the most part, that place is closed down by 10 o'clock at
Right,
night.
it's not a big.
It's not a,
So just for something new at 10 o'clock would just make us all feel a little better.
okay, is that an issue or not?
Well, I'll have to bring it up. I think it is, actually. I do.
Do you think people will be using that? You said no one's gonna use it after 10.
Well, if we get younger
Yeah?
in the future, I don't want to be locked into
Well,
it 10
right,
o'clock.
right now, the license that you'd get is good from Patriots Day till Columbus
Right.
Day. And all of our other outdoor patios are till 11 o'clock, and then they close, even in residential areas where we've had some of them. They have been 11. There's no outdoor music or anything like that that's gonna be out there.
No speakers and music?
Not allowed to have
No.
speakers out there, so that's not gonna be out there.
No.
It's just gonna be,
Basically, it's getting dinner outside, essentially.
Yeah, if we're gonna, you know, have a glass of wine, some cocktail, or if they just want to come up and have apps. But, you know, there probably won't be anybody out there after 10 o'clock.
You're
But I'm
not
gonna get
tired.
locked into that, and have to come back here again to get another hour. You know, I work well with the neighbors, so it's
I
not.
told you, Monty's great.
We've known each other all our lives.
And then if there were issues, we could always
we
revisit.
can always
all of
revisit
that.
the issue, yeah.
And then the functions, you said there's gonna be no functions also?
This is strictly for the members only.
Members
Right,
only.
yes.
Any other members have any comments, questions?
Thanks, Mike.
I have, I'm Chris Jackson. I live 36 Glendale Road across the street from the neighborhood. I'm just a little concerned about the patio because, you know, it's always just kind of just acceptable, the level of noise out of the place. And I've noticed that when people come out into that front porch to smoke cigarettes and stuff, when they open the door, there's always a blast of noise that comes out of there. I think when we think inside, usually for the private properties and stuff. And I just am concerned about the activities of the neighborhood club moving outside, because I think it's inevitably going to be noisy. It's going to cause noise in the neighborhood. And it is a very residential neighborhood, very quiet except for the neighborhood club. And it's a patio that doesn't benefit anyone who lives around there. It only benefits people who pay the membership fees to join the club. So I don't see it as really anything that it's not a public community anyway.
Okay. Any other members of the audience, comments, questions? I do have a letter that I'm going to read. Dear Commissioners, I'm writing in reference to the proposed remodeling and outdoor patio at the Neighborhood Club of Quincy. As an abutter to the club, this patio would impact us greatly. On August 10th, we listened to a presentation at the club by the president, Richie Meade. From the proposed plans, we heard that the outdoor patio would be directly to the rear of the club on a stone patio with 4 tables and 4 chairs in each one. This would be surrounded by a 4-foot guardrail. abutted to the club, we have suffered for over 20 years with headlights shining into our homes. It was caused by the 4-foot fence that bordered the parking lot. 2 years ago, a 6-foot fence was erected, and this eliminated the majority of it. Now, with the proposed patio, which is above the 6-foot fence, we will once again be back to where we were. We are not so much against the patio as we'd like some changes to the plans. We're asking that the fence and the patio be a minimum of 6 feet in height. This will at least give us some privacy, since Servant Road and our homes' elevation is much lower than the club's property. Also, this is a residential area, and people don't realize how sound travels at night. At present, when guests leave, we hear the conversations and honking of their horns as they leave. The employees also do this. This happens as late as 1 a.m. Although it doesn't last long, or often with our windows open, it does wake us up. Mr. Mead, the club manager, mentioned that they have a 1 a.m. license and want this outdoor member area open till 11. We feel a more reasonable time would be 9 or 10. The club is not on Hancock Street. It is in a residential neighborhood surrounded by single-family homes. It was also stated that music would not be played onto the patio. I'd like this to be stipulated. In addition, I asked that cooking not be allowed on the patio or in the future, a gas fire pit. I hope the board understands our concerns and respects our wishes. Sincerely, William J. Barron. So that's been read in by Mr. Barron, and I'm assuming that you are not going to put a fire pit out there, are you?
I believe they were leaving a chase in the concrete for a future fire pit.
Well, in order to get the fire pit, you're going to have to come back before this licensing board to get approval for it, right? It's going to be an alteration of the premise.
But you've already met with the neighbors and you
Yeah, we
talked about
invited them up the other night.
some trees or bushes or evergreens or whatever.
Arborvitae's, yeah. They'll stay green all year long.
And you plan on doing that?
Yeah.
Yes.
The Barons wanted it just because in front of their house, they can see the headlights. They're afraid, we raised the deck up, then that fence just got lowered in front of their house.
Yeah, the deck is 4 feet.
So we'll put something in, we'll have Hanson Landscape put something in front of it. And they were fine with that.
My only other question is concerning the gazebo out front. When you guys go up to the gazebo, are they allowed to bring liquor out there?
We have, when Joe was in charge, and when I refiled for the ABC, when we did the new manager update, I included that in with the ABC paperwork.
Okay.
So if we do an extension of premise, we should do it for the premise.
Right.
Yeah, that would be important.
Okay, so when you do the extension, it's that and the package, the gazebo. I know you guys take wedding pictures out there.
Yep. The wedding parties, we
Yeah.
have champagne, I'll
Yeah.
go and get the pictures taken.
Okay. Board members, any other comments, questions?
As far as the closing time in the fence issue, you're going to address your membership for your board or whatever, is that how?
Yeah, we have a board meeting tomorrow night, actually.
The Board of Governors meeting tomorrow. Yes.
We'll take care of it, it's not a big deal.
If I could just add one more thing, there is an issue of the ending time kind of bleeding later and later during the summer season. I don't think it's the members as much as it is the private events and stuff, but a lot of times I know you close at 11, but the parties moves out into the parking lot. And you can tell by all the empties that are in the parking lot the next morning. So there does seem to be.
When you say all the empties, are they taking liquor out of the establishment?
I think so. I don't know. I haven't watched them. I think that maybe some
That's against the law.
they have beer in their car, maybe.
No, we're not. What's happening is, and I've had some, we've had people, Mike Dalton will tell you the same thing, we've had people hanging out in the parking lot. So I have reached out to Quincy Police to call in a zero, kind of hang out there. And a lot of times we'll see cars coming in and leaving and coming in and leaving. So Brian Tobin's been helping me out with that. They'll just kind of, do their paperwork in the parking lot or whatever, but we don't allow alcohol off the premise. I mean, we just tip certified last night. My whole staff is tip certified. That's not the case. But if they leave, now we have a 1 o'clock license. If I have a wedding till 12, I mean, that's what they've contracted the hall for. I mean, we are a banquet facility.
Yeah.
We are licensed to have the people there at that time, so, And usually if we have an event, there's a detail cop, and if they're bringing out beer in front of the detail cop, I doubt it.
I honestly have been in that place 200 times and I don't want to see them.
Yeah, very.
If it's probably, like you say, it's probably kids pulling in there.
Yeah,
Well,
that's what we're having. We're having a
There is
problem.
that. I mean, there are people that sort of drive in there and hang out at late at night sometimes. But I'm also, I mean, there are people who are leaving the private parties and going out and continuing to drink in the parking lot. I know that for a fact.
Well, if they're doing it, they're doing it in front of the detailed cop, because we
If you do notice it, just call us.
yeah, we'll take care of it. Because they could, they could be sneaking it on us, we don't know.
Yeah,
They could have a cooler in their trunk.
that's why I assume they're doing it. I assume they're not walking out of the neighborhood club with a beer.
Oh, we don't.
You're probably right. So,
But if you see it, just call us and we'll address it.
Okay.
board members, any other comments?
Would you like the conditions to be part of the motion, Mr. Chairman, or is that something we just take care of?
We can put the conditions as part of the fence and plantings as part of the motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to grant the request of the Neighborhood Club of Quincy, 27 Glendale Road, for an alteration of premise, represented by Martin McGovern. Conditions being no cooking, no music, no functions, 11 p.m. closing time, and they will provide some screening and some trees as appropriate.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to grant the request of the Neighborhood Club of Quincy, 27 Glendale Road, for an extension of premise, for the alteration of premise. Marty McGovern, the manager, with the appropriate restrictions put in place pertaining to neighborhood issues that were outlined by Mr. Duker in the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Marty, you're all set, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We are going to jump down to agenda item number 10. Hearing regarding the request of Happy Noodle Inc., DBA, Permit Crab, 22 Brook Street, for a common vicular license. Okay, this is for I got it right here. I got everything. Yeah, just looking for something right there. Why don't you tell us about your plan down at 22 Brook Street?
Okay, there was originally a cafe that was closed already, and we're starting a new business, so, I mean, this is our first time doing business, so we want to, start as entrepreneurs and start with something to, grow. And we initially saw it as a cafe, but we realized that it could be add a little hot food to it, because cafe is this drinks, and maybe we want to add a little bit like noodles to it. But mainly this is our new agreement. Mostly we want to go down, because the neighborhood has a lot of bubble tea around it. We decided to go a little healthy. We start with the green tea. Most of it is green tea combo with other fruit flavors, and it's more a little healthy. And we initially they have added the dissolve system during April of this year. It was approved by the city. I don't know if you.
I'm familiar with all that.
Okay. Okay. And we are certified in all the health standards like Church State and NFS. And there's two concerns that I spoke to him about. The one thing he's concerned about is the garbage. We actually has a quote from the garbage company, which is the Republic Service. They will pick up the garbage if we request it. They could do 3 service a week, or I mean, maximum they could do 3 times a week. But we don't know how much garbage we're going to do, so we're going to get extra large bin. And the second thing is about the traffic in the area. They say because of the store, that may be increased traffic, that might cause problems with police in the area. But most of the traffic in the morning are from the commuters that actually waiting for to be picked up on the roadside. But normally, most of the time when I travel there, in the afternoon, there's nobody, not a lot of people there. I don't know if the city has any information on it.
What are the hours that you're looking for?
We're thinking about 8 to 10, but because in the morning we do see some people that's out there waiting for their breakfast. We do really simple breakfast, only 3 items: rice, porridge, and pickled vegetables, which is like really simple stuff for Chinese people there.
8 a.m. to 10 p.m.?
Yes.
7 days a week, or 5 days a week, 6 days a week?
We don't know how the business is going to be, but
Want to see 7 days to
yes,
start?
yes, to see, yes.
All of the sign-offs are here from the building department, from the health department. Paul McCarthy was there. From the building department, William DeCarli was there. From my office, we have the compliance with taxes, we have the emergency business contact, the workman's comp, everything is here. Before I open it up to board members, any members of the audience have any comments, questions? Why don't you step aside? Why don't you just state your name and your address?
Yeah, my name is Ivan Ho. I'm the owner of next door, which is 24 Brook Street. I run a real estate office over there. Okay, and I actually bought some of the letters from the neighborhood if they have concerns. So I would like to hand that in if it's possible. Is that okay?
Sure.
There's some of the letters from the neighbors, but they have direct impact. Instead of immediate next door neighbors. So I'm gonna address my own concerns. And basically, I don't know if you guys, you probably still remember from the last time we came. It was from no cooking to no food, and then we went all over that, okay? Because of the fact that they need to make a living, the owners, they need to cook hot foods. So, and that is in the past, and that I understand that's not what we are here for today, okay? But with the proposal, I got the letter from the owner next door regarding about the dumpster and the oil grease disposal drums, okay? And then to be put in the back alley, which is a common area. Okay, and the common areas, normally you need to be approved by the condo association, okay? And then also, in the common area, the back alley is kind of narrow. It's only 58.5 inch. And if you put a dumpster and a oil drum in there, I personally don't feel safe because I'm in the last one, okay? And there's no way to go to the right. So it's the fire is in the front, I have to go to the back. And if it's on a snow day, I'm not even able to go through, okay? That's one of my concerns because of the fire hazard. And then we would like to keep the back alley free of anything, just for the fire escape. And then also, if we need to deliver some big items from the back door, if there's a dumpster or oil drum there, this will be kind of narrow to kind of squeeze in, I believe. And it's not fair to me because I'm the last person also, I believe. Okay.
So can I ask one question?
Yeah.
You are one of the unit owners.
Correct.
The common area is something they want to use.
That's the back
That
alley.
has nothing to do with us. If you don't want them to use the common area, you guys create the bylaw in your little condo association and say that. That's up for you to decide.
Then what about
I don't believe a dumpster or a grease barrel should be back there anyway. I stated that at the last year.
Okay.
So I'm not in favor of the dumpster being back there or the grease barrel being back there.
Okay, great. Because
I'm one person though.
Okay, but I did put a picture of how narrow it is.
Yeah.
Just for references.
Yeah.
So you can see that basically there's not a lot of space. Okay, and that's my one of my concerns. Obviously, with the sanitary issue, if they have a dumpster back there, I understand that they're supposed to keep it open, closed, but I own a property next to a restaurant also. And I see that all the time that when they get busy, it's not closed. So flies, especially on a hot summer days, the smells, and if I have to open my back door for some fresh air, because the unit that we have is a long rectangle and we don't have windows. So at times I have to open the window so the draft could kind of recirculate some fresh air. And if a dumpster is there or oil is there, it's gonna create these smells that they're gonna come into my unit, it's gonna affect my business also. So that's one of my concern. And then the other concern is the noise, you know what I mean? Because if you're gonna open a business from 8 to 10, and with the thin barrier between our wall, it's gonna be like chopping and with the banging, you know, like walk and stuff like that. So I will be affected directly because I'm right next to it. That's another concern of mine.
Can you hear the phone ring?
Yeah, I can hear the phone ring. Sometimes.
Are you disturbing them if they hear your phone?
Actually, we don't have a lot of phone. I mean, I don't believe, because
I think the
sometimes-
noise issue is just not valid, that's my opinion.
Okay, well, that's, whatever it is, I am expressing, okay? And whatever you guys agree, it's up to you. But I do my business there, I've been there for years, I have no creating any trouble for anybody, and we all work together in the neighborhood. I understand that they wanna make a living, I wanna make a living too. I hope you understand this too. So like I said, common area issue, we already talked about it. And then if they really want to, you know, like, if I created enough noise that will affect others, I will consider putting up a noise reduction wall, just to make sure that everybody is happy. But if that is affecting me, I will be coming back, because I'm not gonna let my business drive by affected by another business. And I hope you understand that too, okay? And then, you know, as far as the fire, you know, like, you know, restaurant is known to be great, you know, if you're gonna have an event, you're gonna have an oil drum, that is the indication to me that it's gonna be a lot of fried stuff in there. And then oil, fire hazard is also my other concerns. And so this is all my concerns, that I just wanna express, you know, I have this opportunities to tell you guys what my concern is as a business owner, okay? So I'm done with this is what I have, okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to bring up clause, I'm not a car owner.
Yeah.
If you want 24 Brook Street. In talking to neighborhood, I realize, you know, there's, on side of it, there's some children are living there. On the crossing next to us, there's children also living there. So I want to express, Mary Gallagher would like to be here today, unfortunately she's not here because due to her, she's handicapped, so she was very hard to move. But she wanted to make sure this got addressed, is that there's children in the neighborhood. And, you know, if you're getting a dumpster near there and oil near there, you can get the children to stay indoor most of the time. So it's not a good area for them to grow up.
So are children staying in the area because there's a dumpster
No,
across the street?
it's a residential area. You know,
There's
right,
a dumpster right across the street of it.
the dumpster faced directly, there's a building right across this 243 on
245 Allen.
255 Allenton Street. The dumpster's directly facing
Right.
the deck.
Right.
So they opened the window, and that was one of the main concerns the neighbor talked to me about. They said, well, make sure you address the issue, because basically, whenever they open the window in the summer, they're gonna smell the odor.
This is 243 Arlington.
Yes.
It's a property that's completely overgrown.
Yes.
Right.
That needs repair on its own.
This is
Complaining about this business.
Whether they're overgrown or not, okay, I don't think it's an issue here, okay? The issue is the dumpster, if it's gonna be placed right behind.
There's not gonna be, there's not gonna be,
Then that's-
there's not gonna be a dumpster placed there. You people own that common area. That's your decision as a condominium unit complex. You can
Right.
make a bylaw within your condominium association that says common area is not to be used for storage. That's your, that has nothing.
That's fine.
I don't believe a dumpster should be in the rear of that property anyway for the fire.
That's my biggest concern, because of the
And
fire.
that's always been my concern when we had this discussion
Right.
2 or 3 months ago about the rear part of that property. I know it's been repaved. At first it wasn't done the whole way, now it's completely been cemented.
Right.
The whole thing has finally been completely cemented
Then
all the way
where,
down.
just, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but, so where do they expect to put the drums?
So
and-
we're gonna find out when we come back to them. These are your concerns,
Right.
you're expressing them to us, and then we're gonna address them to them.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any comments or questions?
I sure do. May I speak?
You sure, come right up, just tell us your name and address, okay?
I'm Quincy, 20 Wall Street, right in the same brick building, corner of Arlington and Wall Street. And my concern is actually, but there are people wondering how the 22 Brook Street permitting come to this point and allowed to come this far. At the first hearing, the license board said no to the restaurant application. At the second hearing, the board said food is okay, but no cooking, no stove, no hood. At the last hearing, the licensing board granted Ms. Lau everything, period, denied and more. The abutter and neighbors have not changed their thinking from the first board hearing, and now are witnessing the gradual transformation into a full cooking restaurant, proceeding any licensing application and approval. The construction Ms. Lau did to the inside of 22 Brook Street. The stove installation, the roof vent modification were all done without prior notice to the fire department and without license board approval.
So can I
Afterward-
just interrupt you for 1 second right there?
Please.
When she applied for those permits, she did go down to the fire department, she did pull those permits, the fire department knew about it. She did go down to the building department, she pulled permits from the building department knew about it. The licensing board didn't know about it. Fire department, building department didn't know about it, she did pull permits, she did it the legal way as far as pulling permits through there.
Okay. Now, I agree with you, the licensing board was not approved. But when the work started, it was no permit on the door. It was, people start questioning, asking, making noise, yada, yada. Then they went in front of you gentlemen to do the right thing. But nevertheless, the license board's approval was not in place. I just want to, thank you for clarifying. The Brook Street condo store were not told about any plan by Ms. Lau for the common area. Only yesterday did we receive a letter from her informing us of her intent for the use of the common area. As a matter of fact, after the fact, we have never given her permission and no desire to have a dumpster and oil grease disposal drum in our common area. And this common area is serve as a backdoor access and access way for us to bring in merchandise and so on. It's not intended or suitable for storage, no matter how small or transactional. An oil drum and dumpster would not be a small storage. It would not be sanitary and would create a safety hazard. Additionally, the proposed location for this waste container is located next to the two-family house porch. Have all abutters been notified? A recent complaint filed by Ms. Lau was in regard to some wooden pallets blocking the common walkway area and its access to the street. Ms. Lau filed a complaint with the fire department and threatened to sue 20 Brook Street for garbage and blocking of the common area. As it turned out, the garbage and wooden pallets belong to Ms. Lau. Her contractors have left them in a common area. Her complaint disappeared with no apology offered, and the pallet and garbage magically disappeared. Now here's the thing. It's okay for her to complain that there are things there, it bothered her. I keep my mouth shut for weeks and said, give her time, she will take care of things. But she turned around to the fire department and complained about on the walkway. Now it's okay for all this stuff in the walkway. I mean, isn't that transparent? I have no issue to bother anybody. I want people to do well in this country, but be respectful and also, just think about the neighbor, the children. They cannot even hang their laundry on the porch, all right? And so the business hours 10 p.m., they need time for preparation for the food for the next day. All the noise, all the sound and smell, the porch. I mean, they will heat that until the midnight. I mean, that's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I mean, what's the enjoyment of life? Working hard. Then they are working in a restaurant too, and they come home and they have to deal with, be respectful. I do not give them permission to do that. Sound and noise and smell. I know you don't care about, you don't think it's important. But people who live in that neighborhood right next to it, they have the right. They're not here to talk about it, but they have letter, they ask us to help them to present it. And thank you for your time.
Any other members want to come up and say anything?
I'm sorry, it's too much headache. It makes everybody hazy too much. But I want to show you the picture of the dumpster. But we have to, that's a 65 inches wide for the back door hallway. First of all, the back door hallway was dirt before. I paid for both 3 sections, and I said, but the lady, I don't use the back hallway at all. I don't want to pay for it. Then I said, I pay for it. It just, I pay for the labor because since you're working on it, and I pay for the labor, you pay for just the material. And she said, oh, no. And by the time the day we doing that, somebody called the city and complained, it's so much work. Then the building department come here and shut off the building. Say, you can't do anything. I say, that's the last thing we do is just make it nice and clean. What's wrong with it? So we finished it. The city didn't say anything. I asked her to just pay for the material by making a nice, fine way to make everybody easy and clean. It smelled very bad. She just done hers because even her bag, I end up didn't do it because I give her an option. She want to do it. I pay for the labor. You just pay for the material.
We've heard these stories before.
Yeah,
What happens in your business and your condo association is none of our concern.
And also,
What we're here for is the transfer of license, and that's what we're going to do.
I know,
So we don't want to hear
I just
anymore about you
want
arguing
to
with you.
tell the story.
Okay, go ahead.
A little bit, just a tiny bit. And then and I make it nice. It's a smell, people pee in the end of the corner because the last people hang out every day, drink coffee, they go to the end of the plate.
Okay,
pee.
but talk about the license.
Now it's okay. Now it's okay because she finished her portion. Now no pee smelling, okay? And one thing is the barrel. It's we put the barrel before it's that's a regular barrel for everybody. That's the hallway for.
We did keep it.
Again, this is beyond what we need to know.
Okay.
That's a problem between the condo association. We don't want to get involved in it.
Okay.
Is there something you need to tell us about transferring
Tell
this license?
us about it. One thing is, if she complain about the noise for the restaurant to bothering someone, is that the mall has a restaurant in it, then the mall next to the restaurant area, people have to move out, right? Because the restaurant bothering the jewelry store, bothering Macy, they need to run out of business.
Okay.
That's what I can say,
Thank you.
A business, small business is help people make a living. And I have to pay bill, but that's okay. One thing, it just also one thing is the labor didn't complain about the smelling. They most consider. They didn't come, but that's okay. When they complain, I need to take care of the smell. If the smell bothering next door,
Let me ask you a question. How long have you been
I
open?
will take care of the trash 3 times a day.
How long have you been open?
Been one month. But the thing is,
How long have you had the license and the common vicular license?
over a year.
And you've only been open 1 month?
Because I tried to help her stand for good woman, strong woman, but she says she can't do it, she has 3 kids. So for myself, I have too much pressure, I can't do it either.
All right.
Okay.
Fine.
My name is Pamela. I'm living in Russell Road, neighborhood around the store. I know their neighbor have been so many conflict because they don't like them to open the food service. So they been having so many conflict. So I said, since they don't get along, now they're transferring the license to the new people. They might get along better. So I said, why they keep still giving people around the so many like stress, like against the same race of people. You know, our new immigrator, we work hard in the new country, living on ourselves, not depending on the government. But I say now we would to see it like a Quincy government to helping the like a minority, giving that opportunity. Everybody would just think in themselves benefit, but sometimes you have to think in somebody else, right, to make the community more peaceful, more nicer. So, and now I say, since they already have so many conflict, I say, if they transfer, because they getting so many stress, so many problems from the business. So now they transfer the new people. I would say, hopefully your guy would like understanding Jean's the problem why she wanted to change the license.
So can I ask you a question? Are you for or against it? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Are you for the transfer or against the transfer?
I'm for.
You're for the transfer, okay.
Yeah, because I think good for both.
Okay.
Both good the neighbor, good for Jean.
Okay.
They might get along with the new people.
Okay.
So that's what I like to say.
Thank you. Any other members have any comments or questions? Seeing none, I'm going to, you want to come up and say something? Just state your name and address, okay?
My name is Quincy. I live in 62 Sanford Street, Quincy. This is what I hear about what is the business about family. I just had a question a couple of times, the hearing I hear. The neighbors always complain it, say don't want to open the business. I have a question. What kind of business they want, gym, or they will open it? What kind of business you want they open it, or just close the store?
Okay, I have to adjust to your question, okay?
I mean, some
If you
things,
don't mind,
okay.
you ask me a question, do you want me to answer?
Okay.
Okay?
This is beyond the scope. Let her speak, please. Sit down.
She asked me a question.
She didn't ask you the question, she's stating it to us.
Oh, I thought she's just turning around and asked me a question, that was for the answer.
What kind of business they want? They want the new owner to open it. That's why I just feel confused. Or they close the business, they close the units because that's for the business, not for the house. The house usually say keep quiet, no smoking, no nothing, right? The business, you know what I mean? Will be noise, smoking, and people. And more business will be good for the city, and more employees.
So you,
And more jobs. I will say if they open it, I hope they will open it. And also
Okay.
right now, just transfer to other people, they will open their business.
Okay.
I don't know why, what's the difference? They will complain all the time. That's only for my concern. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? All right, do you want?
Yes. I would like to address what she just asked me.
I think we're past that.
Yeah.
We don't need, she's entitled to her opinion, we listen to her, we listen to her.
That's all it is.
Thank you.
Okay,
So, it's
she
an
asked
opinion.
me.
No,
I
it's
have
an
nothing to
opinion.
against.
It's an opinion. You can talk to her after. All right, I'm gonna close the public hearing aspect of it. If no one has anything new to add.
Can you read the letters that we?
Because basically we did.
I'm gonna read every
I'm
single
not
one of
trying,
them.
I'm not trying to
Okay?
take up the time, but I just felt that
Yeah.
we did get the public opinion.
Yeah, and I'm gonna read them.
That's-
Gonna
Thank
give
you.
me a chance to do my job. I give you guys a chance to speak,
Thank you for
right?
your time.
right, I'm gonna close the public hearing aspect of this right now. I have several letters here.
Actually, before that, Jeff, do you mind if I ask
Go right
a
ahead.
couple questions? If we just step back up here, please, I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
First off, your hours of operations are 8 to 10. How many seats do you plan on having in there?
Well, is that the same thing, 16?
Same as what is
Nothing's
presently
changed.
in there? Nothing has changed as
Nothing's
far as that goes? Are you changing anything inside the place?
Nope, equipment, everything the same.
But you are gonna, she's never cooked there from what I understand.
Yes. I mean, she never cooked it, yeah.
So this will be a change. You'll be doing cooking, you'll be frying. So we went from a bubble tea room
Well-
with a couple seats now to almost a full-service restaurant. essentially.
Actually,
Here's-
it was a
Let
16.
me, let me just.
I noticed, okay.
So here's, when she was approved for the 16-seat restaurant with all of the equipment in there.
Mhm.
It was approved on a 3-2 vote. I believe you and I were the two that voted against it, and it was approved on a 3-2 vote. She never opened up after she got approved.
Right, and that I understand.
And that's where we are right now. Even though she never opened up, I don't think we can say that it's never been a cooking facility. She was licensed for it. She never took advantage of it up until this point. But it is gonna be a new experience once people start cooking in there. And there are gonna be odors, there are gonna be issues with the dumpster, the grease barrel. These are questions that you and I had.
Originally, one of my concerns was parking and traffic. And when it was a bubble tea room, I still had some concerns, as did some of the neighbors that showed up for that hearing. I voted against it because I think that there isn't enough parking to sustain a 16-seat restaurant with takeout. And I assume you're gonna do takeout as well, correct?
Well, right now, we haven't decided yet, so. yeah.
You will. Come on, let's not the games here. We've been told 10 stories already. It was a bubble tea room, and now it's gonna be a full-service takeout restaurant with 16
We
seats.
prefer not to, because the noodle we're serving is in the styrofoam. I mean, not styrofoam, but aluminum foil, so we prefer not to take out. But
So you're telling me you're not going to do takeout?
prefer not to.
Prefer, and you're not going to?
For right now, we're probably saying no. We're not going to.
But what about next week?
I don't even know if there's a way we can say you
Yeah.
can't do takeout.
Chairman, can
Go right ahead.
I say something? I want to just try to clarify a few things. Several years ago, the owner of this building went before the zoning board. He made a substantial investment in the building to modernize it and make renovations. The zoning board allowed him to do so and allowed him to, the businesses that are allowed in that district to be permitted to go into that. It could be a restaurant, it could be an insurance agency, retail, all the things that are allowed down there. The zoning ordinance, our zoning ordinance, allows all of these uses in this particular area. We don't have, this board doesn't control what goes on in the condominium, like the chief said. Any businesses that are in there are required to obey the law, to keep exits clear, and to not pose a danger to the public. So I just wanted to just make sure that everybody knew that this came from the zoning board decision several years ago. There is no parking in the area, there never will be parking in the area, but it would be a bad precedent for the city to set when we're deciding what kind of businesses are going into these particular areas. It's just a bad precedent to set. So having said that, just would like the board to take that into account.
So, all right, I'm gonna read these letters to you.
Can I ask a question? Did you contact your city councilor, Ian Kane?
Yes.
And
That's the two concerns. I remember when I started the statement, the two concerns. One is the parking, the other one is the garbage. The garbage, we actually called the service. They said they could provide free service, so if the smell becomes an issue or garbage becomes.
is this what you're talking about, is a dumpster?
Yes, the 96 count.
And can that be stored inside in the back somewhere until the day of the pickup?
If it's a 3-day pickup, yes, I believe so.
And the same with the grease?
Grease right now, because if they complaining about the deep frying and stuff, because on the menu we only have 2 items that's deep fried. If they that strongly against it, we could take it out. It's not like a big part of the menu. It's like a very added. It's like a small thing that's added on. And second of all, not much stuff on there. I believe you got to chop on the menu. Like most of the stuff we sell is drink. I don't know if we're doing chop carrots or celeries. I don't know. But if they complain about noise, we could keep quiet or whatever that might be, but I really doubt it's the noise. And most of the menu item is minimized to the cooking. If they complain about a fry, well, if there's a grease problem, we could take that fryer. I mean, it's not like the majority of the menu item is the frying stuff. And second of all,
The fryer is already in,
yeah,
correct?
yes.
What I'm asking is, can it be stored inside until they come and pick it up?
Well, I believe there's some service, like the baker service, they have an indoor grease container. I believe that could be installed.
That's a little.
Yes.
Yes. If
Maybe contain your stuff to your area,
Yes, I believe so,
and
yes.
then you'd get along better with the neighbors.
Yes, yes,
Perhaps.
yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
I'm gonna read these into the record real quick. My name is Mary D. Gallagher. I'm the owner of 30 Brook Street, Quincy, Mass. 02170. I live at this property for a long time, and I also handicapped and have difficulty walking, moving around. I've been living in the neighborhood for a long time and have been working for the Quincy Police Department for a long time. I am looking at this neighborhood and I am extremely angry. Opening of a restaurant will destroy the tranquility of the neighborhood. My neighbor with kids as well, and the kids is usually play outside. Not only the amount of potential traffic as well as the traffic it will impact on the neighborhood. I am a strong opponent in the objection of having a restaurant open on 22 Brook Street, Quincy, Mass. Brook Street is already having enough restaurant on the street. We really need another restaurant and destroy the tranquility of the neighborhood. I was extremely happy to see the children to be able to play outdoor. Once you are allowed to have a restaurant open and extremely close to the neighborhood, there will be no going back. The opening of an additional restaurant will attract unwanted rat, mice, and rodent. The odor from the food debris will cause the destruction of our air quality, will attract unwarranted character into our neighborhood and increase the intensity of the traffic. Most will destroy the value of our home. Ask yourself, would you like to live next to a restaurant? Mary Gallagher, 30 Brook Street. Dear officer, I am Jing Yang Jing, property owner, 294 Fayette Street, Quincy, Mass. I live at this house with my 2 young children. My house is located right across the street from 22 Brook Street, Quincy, Mass. 02170. We like the neighborhood and felt safe that my children could play in the area. It had come to my attention that 22 Brook Street is going to be opened up as a restaurant, no longer a cafe anymore. This concerns me because of the potential nuisance smells and could blow our way that may affect the health of our children and also the devaluation of my property. I just purchased my home a couple of years ago for a high price. I want to make sure the value of my property will substance. I also noticed parking situation. Often people would block our driveway because they could not find parking in the area. With another restaurant open, this situation will get worse. I object to the proposal. Yin Yang Yang, owner, 294. I am Fanny Ho, owner of 239 Vale Street, Quincy, Mass. 02170. I have been living in the neighborhood for over 30 years. I have seen the changes in the neighborhood and welcome any improvement in the recent years. I have seen the Wollaston area develop into a restaurant hub. We have over 6 food stores, restaurants, just from 1 to 18 Brook Street. We welcome the foods, but I do not believe we need another one so close to the residential area. The restaurant generates a lot of traffic and it comes with parking issues. Now when I go down to the bakery, I often could not find a space to park, especially when we have a snowstorm. Literally need to walk on the street because so many cars park on the side. Also, I noticed that the street seems to have much more the debris on the street. I strongly believe that we do not need to have another restaurant to worsen the situation. Fanny Ho. My name is Kitty Kwok, owner of 15 Elmwood Ave, Quincy, Massachusetts, 02170. I'm writing this letter to express my objection to having another restaurant open in our neighborhood for the address located at 22 Brook Street, Quincy, Mass. The reason for my objection is because the traffic and parking situation has become uncontrollable, and the street being much dirtier than before. We already have plenty of restaurants in the neighborhood and do not need another one to intensify these situations. Right now, the parking situation has gotten worse. The people going to the restaurants even park in front of my house. Sometimes they will block my driveway from time to time. Thank you, Kitty Kwok. Quincy Hearing Board. My name is Dennis Pans. I'm the landlord of 28 Brook Street, Quincy, Mass. 02170. I live at this place with my family for a long time. It's a really great block. However, our neighbor sold his house to a restaurant. We all know that it was also a restaurant earlier, but it had no full kitchen. Now the new restaurant will hold a fried cook stove. All our neighbors felt so anxiety about the unclear air and bad situation about our environment. Especially there are so many young children also living there with their parents. Adults go to work every day. The children always play outside with elder people. But if this place becomes noisy, dirty, and crows, not only children and elder person cannot talk and play with each other, but also their friends and family also would not want to visit them. This is so bad for them. What's more, a fulsome street affects our house's value seriously, because everyone does not like to live in a dirty, noisy place. So I object a full kitchen restaurant located just nearby. Dennis Pan. Dear Quincy Hearing Board, I am Q Rong Huang, tenant tenant of 28 Brook Street, Quincy, Mass. I lived there with my family for a long time. We all love this quiet and convenient place. Recently, we noticed that 22 Brook Street will have a business with a full kitchen. We are so worried about the kitchen. We may change our nice living environment with flyers, hood, and vent, which also is going to have a dumpster and oil drum placed at the back of the alley. Unfortunately, we have young children that often play around the house. The health and sanitary issues that the dumpster and trashes cause may appear. This question is so important that everyone will consider about their young children. Also, since our unit and windows is right next to the back alley, we are also very concerned with the oil and bad smells that will not be able to open our windows, which will cause stickiness to our furniture and clothes. In addition, the noise that may be created by the restaurant is also our concern for a good night of sleep and possible fire hazard. Due to these reasons, I strongly object to having a full kitchen-operated restaurant at 22 Brook Street. Dear Quincy Hearing Board, I am Quinn Ling, tenant of 26 Brook Street, Quincy, Mass. 02170. I just found out that 22 Brook Street sold their business to a new owner, plans to have a full kitchen with flyers, hood, and vent. Also is going to have a dumpster and oil drum placed in the back alley. At the side of the house, we are concerned with the health and sanitary issues and stuff from attachment cars. There will be definitely flies and rot issues. Also, since our unit and windows is right next to the back alley, we are also very concerned with the oil and nuisance smells that we would not be able to open our windows to enjoy the fresh air and oil vapor that may cause stickiness to our furniture and clothes. With the current limited parking spaces available, another restaurant would intensive the situation. In addition, the noise that may be created by the restaurant is also our concern for a good night of sleep and possible fire hazard. Due to these reasons, I strongly object to a full kitchen-operated restaurant at 22 Brook Street for the above reasons. Quinn Ling, tenants. Dear Quincy, she already read that one, okay? And no, I did not read this one. Property owner, 24 Brook Street. We are Yvonne and Peter Coe, property and business owner of Global Partners. That, you guys, we've already read this one. Okay. So those are all of the items that have been read into the record. Before I open it up to the, well, I'm going to open it up to the board members. Board members have any questions or comments? Chief Barron?
I just want to comment on the use of that alley in back. That's an exit discharge, and it should be maintained at 44 inches wide. And I think I'm hearing it's 58 inches wide, someone mentioned. That gives you 14 inches of available space. So the type of containers you're talking about could not be placed back.
Okay.
So you're going to have to make a provision inside.
Okay.
And
If there's the oil drum in the oil issue, I know as a fact that Baker Oil, they actually do an indoors oil storage. That's like a container they come in and put a pipe in and they drain the oil out. That I could work out with.
you're certainly going to have to keep that very clean, otherwise you'll be seeing our health commissioner regularly, and you'll be back before us.
Oh.
If it's approved.
Yes, yes, sir.
Any other board members have any comments or questions?
My concern is the traffic and the parking down there. There isn't any. It's a heavily trafficked area, but there is absolutely no parking for any kind of establishment to add to that area. So I have a concern over the parking. And I don't think there's anything you can do to address it.
So, I'll throw my 2 cents in also. This restaurant goes back, a couple years now. And I was not in favor of it to begin with. We allowed it to go in with the bubble tea, and it was just gonna be a small, little tea place. It was not gonna be a full-service restaurant. She went before the building department, the fire department, got the necessary permits, got the equipment in there. We found out about it, we brought her back before the board. It was approved on a 3-2 vote. That's how she was able to keep everything in there. That's where we stand right now. She is a license to operate that business with all of that equipment in there. She can go, we can end this hearing right now, she can go down, who owns it right now before this is passed, and she can open up and start full-service cooking, as long as she maintains that alleyway in the back free of debris so that it's an emergency exit, she's gonna be all right. That being said, I agree with the chief, I have many concerns with the storage of trash inside the building. If you're gonna have 3 days a week pickup, that's fine, I don't have an issue with that. If we're gonna store it there, that's fine. If Baker Commodities has a place where you can put grease in there, that's absolutely fine, that frees up the back space. I don't have any issue with that at all either. I do have concerns about the parking down in that area, and I do agree with the chief, and I'm not gonna support the transfer of this. I didn't support the original license, I'm not gonna support the transfer of it. So with that, I'm gonna close my comments, and I'm gonna look to the board to make any kind of motion that they'd like to make.
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to grant the request of Happy Noodle Inc., DBA Hermit Crab, 22 Brook Street, for common victualler license, Robin Hong, manager, with the hours of 8 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to grant the request of the Happy Noodle Inc., DBA Hermit Crab, 22 Brook Street, for a common vicular license represented by Wabin Hwang. With that, I'm going to call a roll call vote. Chief Barron.
Yes.
Director Duca.
Yes.
City Clerk Crispo.
Yes.
Police Chief Keenan.
No.
And I am also going to vote no. So you have passed on a 3-2 vote. You can see Cindy Manning tomorrow to figure out all the paperwork that you have to do to get open. Make sure that that rear alleyway is maintained clear of debris, and that goes for all of the other tenants that are there too. You know, everybody has to make sure that that maintains free of debris back there. Make sure you check in with us to figure out some way to get rid of your trash, okay? With that, this hearing is closed. Good luck down there.
Thank you.
It's already closed. You can ask me something afterwards if you want, okay? Okay, we are going to go to hearing regarding the request, we're going to agenda item number 12. Hearing regarding the request of KC Auto Center, LLC, 59 School Street for a garage repair license. So this is Wing Fun Sito, and you are at 59 School Street, and are you the owner, you can see right over there, are you the owner of this, of the building right now?
I know.
So you're who I spoke to this morning?
Yeah.
So he has a garage repair license currently right now in his name. He's gonna turn that in, and you're gonna operate the garage repair license out of that location? Does that make sense to everybody, what we're talking about here at 59 School Street? So why don't you just tell us that in your own words, what you plan on doing there, okay?
We just like treasuring from Korea. We have a repair shop in Quincy, and we just like want to get closer to Quincy, working by a lot of customers in the Quincy area. So yeah, just basically just like working on the car business.
Yeah, and you're gonna operate both bays?
Just the repair bay, not the gas station.
No, yeah, I'm talking, there's 2 bays.
Yeah.
You're gonna operate both of those
Yes.
bays. One of them has a lift, and are there 2 lifts there or just one?
They both have lifts.
They both have lifts,
Yeah.
and you're gonna operate that?
Yes.
And the other gentleman's gonna operate the gas bar?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody in the audience have any comments or questions? Seeing none, open it up to the board. Comments, questions?
How many vehicles would you anticipate having on site?
Probably not much because the parking is so small. Maybe because I'm the only one work on I'm the only mechanic, so probably maybe 2-3 cars. Yeah.
You can fit it there. Yeah, there's no issue for that. Chief Barron.
Can I just ask you, this business is new to you?
Yes.
And where have you operated a business like this in the past?
In Braintree. Yeah.
And how many years were you there?
I have been working in Braintree for 16 years. Yeah. And there are 2 different places.
Okay, so you're moving your operation to this location?
Yes.
And our inspector was by, and you know you have to come by our fire prevention office and apply for some waste oil and acetylene permits.
Mm-hmm.
We'll make sure you do that.
Yeah, we already did.
You already did?
Yeah.
Okay.
One thing I do, hand the inspector form that I
Sure.
the last time.
This is the sign off by Paul McCarthy, the building department that says it's all there, and the fire department was already by. We have the emergency contact form to the chief. We have workman's comp. And the hours are going to be Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, Saturday, 9 to 1. Okay. Board members, comments, questions? Entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to grant the request of KC Auto Center LLC, 59 School Street for a garage repair license. Wing Fun Sato, manager.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to grant the request of KC Auto Center LLC, 59 School Street for a garage repair license. Win Fun Sato, the manager. All in favor? Aye. You're all set, all right? Good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
We are going to jump down, because I see Paula down there waiting so patiently, and I know why you're here, Paula. So we're going to jump to agenda item number 8, hearing regarding the request or the status update of the CD all alcohol license at the Villa Rosa. So why don't we come on up? We noticed that you were closed, and there were all kinds of rumors going around about what was going to be happening down there. So we just wanted to make sure that we're all on the same page so we can go forward, okay? So why don't you give us a little status update?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm used to it.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I'm attorney Henry Levin, 875 Southern Artery in Quincy, and I represent Mrs. Massey. This business has been there for 65 years. It started with Mrs. Massey's grandmother, then her mother and aunts took it over, then the mother took it over, and then Maria and her brother took it over. The brother has been bought out several months ago. Unfortunately, the business isn't doing what it was doing before. Also, it came to their knowledge that the building itself was in deplorable condition. They've gone to the building department, and they're doing renovations throughout the whole building. The question has come up as to whether they're going to reopen. Right now, we don't know, very honestly. It's a possibility, or there's a possibility of another restaurant. When they're doing the renovations, none of the equipment was removed. The kitchen equipment is still there. However, if something else comes up, it's a good location rental-wise. We would request until we can make a determination where the whole thing is going, that they retain the license, and for possible,
So here's my concern. We don't have any issue with the Villa Rosa.
Right.
Been here forever, like you say, a great place. We need to know something, because when you come to renew your licenses in November and December, you're not going to open up. You guys just can't put that license in your pocket. ABCC won't allow us to reissue that license like that.
we're aware of that,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman. What we're asking is to allow it to...
We're going to let you go right through to the end of the year. That's not going to be an issue at all with us. I just want to make sure you guys know that if there's nothing concrete come the end of the year, the ABCC is just not going to let you open up a license without even opening up. They're not going to issue that. They're not going to renew that license. Okay?
I've made my client aware of that.
Okay.
I was well aware of the rules.
Great. Then we're all good.
Okay, yes.
All right. Can I have a motion to place this on file?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to grant, to establish the status of the CD all alcohol restaurant license held by SEMA Corp., DBA Villa Rosa Restaurant, to be placed on file.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to place the status of the Villa Rosa Restaurant on file with the notion that they are planning on reopening. That's their ultimate goal, is to reopen. Excellent. You're all set, all right? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Your Honor.
Number 7. Hearing regarding the status of the CV all alcohol restaurant license held by Beachcomber Bounty Inc., DBA Beachcomber Quincy, 797 Quincy Shore Drive. Chris Carey, right?
Yes.
Chris, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. Tell us what's going on down the Beachcomber.
Hi, Mr. Chairman, can I introduce myself?
You sure
You
can.
and the board, my name is Attorney Dylan Sanders, and I represent Chris and the other developers on the Beachcomber. So, we remain very excited about developing this property and reopening it as a restaurant. It will be a new restaurant, it won't be the old Beachcomber business. I believe you heard this, that license was transferred. I hope Mr. Fleming can stick around, but he had to leave. So, we are under agreement still with the current property owner. We expect to close 2 weeks from yesterday to actually purchase the property. Our plan currently is for a 50-seat restaurant. It will be a new building and new facilities, roughly on the same footprint, slightly oriented a little bit differently to take advantage of the nice sight lines that property offers. Why the delay? You might, because it's a reasonable question. Originally, we had a larger plan in economics, and plus, in particular, the parking simply didn't work. So we've had to redesign the project, but we went and opening up what we hope will be a destination restaurant there. I understand exactly what you just told the Villa Rosa folks, and I'm sure that's the message we need to understand as well.
You got it.
Mr.
We're all set?
Yes.
That's all we wanted to hear.
How many seat restaurant?
We anticipate 50 now.
50.
Yes.
How many seat restaurant, how many,
The occupancy right now?
yeah.
Well,
like 200. Yeah.
But it will be a different, it's not going to be an entertainment venue anymore. It's simply going to be a restaurant.
What will happen when November comes, when we go to renew the license?
Well, as long as they have a good faith effort to reopen as the Villa Rosa, if they come before us and say that they're gonna reopen, we're gonna, as the Beachcomber or as the Villa Rosa, we're gonna extend them the courtesy and let them renew the license at the location.
We're not going to open as the Villa Rosa.
Okay.
Well, I know you're not. I'm just using the 2 years as the same example. Yeah.
Thank you, and we would come before you, we'd show our most advanced plans and show you.
That's good. Just don't forget to keep us in the loop of what's going on, all right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Excuse me, sir, just a
Yes.
curious question. You're already working with an architect? You have?
Yes, we are.
Okay, and I'm
We're on our
sure you
second
don't
round of
wanna-
plans for that architect.
Yeah, you don't want to let that out just yet, but I just wondered how far along you really.
Oh, we are. We're actually on our second round of plans. As I said, we had originally designed a larger facility. The economics just didn't work, so the architect is currently redesigning plans that we would expect to actually present you the conceptual once we come back.
Thank you.
Thank you, too. Any other questions?
We are all set.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Okay, we're going to go to agenda item number 9, hearing regarding the status of the CV all alcohol restaurant license held by Tiriana Restaurant Inc., DBA Basta Pasta, and Teca, 150 Hancock Street. We have no one here from Basta Pasta. I do know that there is a for sale sign up on the property, and I believe there's a zoning decision on this.
There's been a zoning decision for a multi-family residential project. It's all been permitted, ready to go, and that's all I can tell you about that.
Okay. So we just keep.
We have no permits.
Right.
Okay.
But you can, as long as. Okay, and we can keep this on file, and I'll try to reach out to Basta Pasta to see what their intentions are.
Are they still operating?
They're closed right now, currently closed in the temporary. So, can we place that on file, make a motion?
A motion to place
Agenda item number 9, Basta Pasta.
place the status of the CV all alcohol restaurant license held by Tirana Restaurant, DBA Basta Pasta, on file.
All in favor? Aye. We're coming up near the end. I believe that's it, right? Other business. Okay, we have a communication from the Mass State Lottery regarding Keno to go display monitors at Donuts and Donuts, 1461 Hancock Street, 22 Independence Ave, and at Discount Liquors, 380 Granite Street. We have no issues at all. So we can forward this along to the ABCC that we have no objections. We do have a couple of correspondence from the ABCC pertaining to the selling of alcohol from retail establishments the day after Christmas, when Christmas falls on a Sunday. Previously, it was against the law to sell alcohol retail on the Monday following Christmas, when it was on a Sunday. That law has been repealed. It was signed by the governor on August 10th, 2016. It's law H4569, and this act eliminates the long-standing prohibition of a license from owning both a Section 12 license, a restaurant tavern license, club hotel license, general on-premise, club, hotel, war veterans club, continuing care retirement community, and a Section 15, a package store license in the same town. Now a licensee may own both a retail package store and a CV alcohol license. And the other one is on the Sunday hours, that as Christmas falls on a Sunday in 2016, Section 12 and Section 15 licensees may sell alcoholic beverages on the Monday following Christmas this year. Section 18 and 19 licensees, wholesalers, importers, and manufacturers may also now sell and deliver alcoholic beverages the Monday following Christmas, when Christmas falls on a Sunday. Please be advised that nothing else has changed as it relates to the hours or days licensees may operate on the Monday following Christmas. Those are the two items from the ABCC. Before we adjourn, can we waive the reading for the minutes from the previous meeting?
Motion made.
Motion made and seconded to pass the reading and accept the minutes. All in favor? Aye. With that, the licensing board for Tuesday, August 16th has been adjourned, and thank you very much for everyone coming.